Okay.
Okay. Speaking of second drivers, let's talk about Carlos Sainz.
All right, let's talk about Carlos Sainz.
Um, I I have a lot of criticism about Carlos Sainz. Uh, I don't
Yeah.
know if you are a little bit more empathetic, but I have a big criticism here.
Well, I guess yeah. I guess after he came back from his incident, he just recovered, and I stopped thinking about Carlos Sainz. So if you have strong thoughts, I want to hear them.
Yes. So I'll give you some context here. And obviously, as I give you context, you'll probably be like, yeah. And you'll get on the shit on Carlos Sainz. Well, I don't mean to purposely shit on Carlos Sainz. I think he's a good driver, but there are we've had a couple of years, for example, when Mercedes were winning every single race. And Hamilton and Bottas and Max Verstappen would be on the podium the whole time. And Red Bull struggled so hard to win races because the only driver fighting for another, like a win besides Hamilton, would be Verstappen. And the second driver at the time, it was Pierre Gasly, and he didn't do shit. Then Alex Albon, and then Red Bull screwed him over. Then you had Perez for a little bit of time that like he's just getting up to speed. So Verstappen never had a Red Bull never had a weight of challenging Mercedes because Mercedes had two drivers at the front and they can just play Verstappen like a fiddle
Yep.
every single time, and they would outsmart Red Bull because you had two drivers that you can put on two different strategies and force the Red Bull driver to do whatever you want him to do.
Yep.
So this is a race where like Carlos Sainz needs to be there to support Charles Leclerc. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have a faster car. You're definitely winning the race with that car if you're Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen has a mistake, uncharacteristic mistake. Perez is stuck behind George Russell, and you have a car that is faster than all of these guys, and then you can't overtake any of them. You're also in a track that is your home Grand Prix, and you're not there. Like if anything had to happen for Carlos Sainz to win a race, it wasn't this race. Everything happened.
Everything that
That
happened.
that like
Mhm.
if you put like, oh, what requires Carlos Sainz to win a race like by luck? It's like, well, you need Charles Leclerc to not finish the race. You need
Yeah,
Verstappen to like
make a mistake like
make a
that,
mistake.
and
Yeah,
then
you
get stuck with his DRS.
get stuck without DRS for like a big
Yeah.
portion of the race.
Mhm.
Have his teammate also be stuck behind a slower Mercedes car. Have Lewis Hamilton in the fucking back. You know, like
Also, yeah,
he has everything said like on a silver plate in his home Grand Prix,
yeah,
and he doesn't win. Like he ended fourth, but Hamilton was last and overtook him.
and overtook him. Yeah,
And the only reason Carlos Sainz overtook him back is because Hamilton had to lift so
yeah.
he wouldn't risk damaging the engine and not ending the race. So he got fourth by pure luck. And the commentators are like saying is like, oh, Carlos Sainz is he should be happy ending fourth because this is his best result ever in his home Grand Prix. And I'm like, I wouldn't be
Mm.
happy
Mm.
if like if he should have won the race.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if you think the same. I don't know.
No,
I have a big criticism on Sainz.
I think I totally agree. I feel like what you said actually does make a lot of sense. I think it's a race, yeah. That like all the conditions were there for him to win this race, and it's like once again like these tiny mistakes, which are like I don't know, like you're not supposed to like Science who's been so consistent. You're not supposed to do that, or you're not supposed to be seeing that. He's just keeps making these mistakes and getting stuck behind, and then after that, he's also not as fast. Like he's not. I mean, Leclerc was gonna win this race, and he was like 9 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Like, and he was like lap 20. So it's like how is this happening? That like Leclerc is going so fast and being in the right place at the right times, but you're not. Like, I don't know. I think it comes down to like
how are you being overtaken by the guy that's in last place, making his comeback on like a much slower car, like on a Mercedes, like Lewis Hamilton? I know it's Lewis Hamilton, and you can say like, oh, Lewis Hamilton, but it's like, but look at what like Hamilton was last,
yeah.
Or second to last, but
Yeah, well, I don't know. In a way,
there,
I guess
it's like there were not even safety cars for Hamilton to like
to
bunch
be able
up.
to make that progress.
Yeah,
It's
like he
actually,
did it pure on pace, in purely just pace.
yeah, actually, I mean, and I mean, this is a little bit deviating from Carlos Sainz, but this Hamilton race was like incredible. I don't know, like, um, it wasn't like shown on the TV as much, obviously, because it's just Hamilton, but I mean, Hamilton went to last place, like 30 seconds behind everybody. And then he came back and like literally passed like everybody all the way down to like fourth place until like he had to give it back. And not even because of his fault. That's unbelievable. And I know that there were people, I think Juan Pablo said that like he should have won this race. I'm like, yeah, actually, this was a race that was totally possible for Hamilton to have won had he not had that incident with Magnussen.
Yep.
And it was actually, I don't know, I was looking at some of the footage of just Hamilton's onboard, and like the passes that he was making was incredible. I mean, that pass on Bottas was beautiful. Like, it was just like cleanly on the outside, came in with so much speed. Like, to me, he was driving that Mercedes like on the edge, like at all times. He was just coming with so much speed, which to me is a really good sign. I feel like the Mercedes are finally like catching up. But from Hamilton's perspective, I'm like, damn, dude, the guy still's got it. I mean, at some point, we look back and like objectively say, like, if you look at Hamilton's racecraft and just the way that he's able to catch up and do these incredible like feats every race, you will truly understand that like he is the goat. Like he is one of like, if not the greatest driver of all time, because I mean he still got it. He still can do like really incredible things. And I'm excited because I think the Mercedes have some battle left this year, and we're like barely even like a quarter, not like a third in the season.
Yeah. Before fully diving into Mercedes, and even though we've already talked like this is a big time on Hamilton, that's okay. Any last thoughts on the Carlos Sainz rant that I had? Or do we just move on and accept that like this guy just?
Yeah.
What does Carlos Sainz need to do now?
I think at this
to
point,
get back into it.
I think at this point it's just like, I think he needs to have consistent races again. You know, just like something took him off his mojo. No, you know what? I actually don't even think he's been off his mojo. He's been like driving well. It's just that like all these different incidents that happened, which seemed like strokes of bad luck, probably put him in a worse spot that he actually is in. So what I think it's just a matter of giving him time. I think if you give him like 3 races without incidents, with the 4th he's gonna be golden. You know, like he's gonna be like going fast again and like comfortable with the car again. But like it's just like all these little incidents are like taking a lot of toll.
Yeah, I haven't seen his interviews lately, so I don't know. Obviously, the only way that you can tell the mental state of a driver, us as like an audience, is by seeing like the drivers interact on the interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
So I haven't seen Carlos Sainz's interview.
And in the radios.
Yeah. So, but I hope that he's calm and collected, that he knows like, oh, this will pass. Mm-hmm. If so, then I think he'll probably have a good weekend in Monaco. Mm-hmm. But if he's really kicking himself, like he was really upset. Like I keep saying it, like, I think he just needs to be cool and collected and just like a solid driver. But in Bahrain, the first race of the season, he is mad that he got second place. And I'm like, no, you did fine. You did what you needed to do. You just need to be there to fight the Red Bulls and be there to collect the pieces when like they break down and stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. And he did that in Bahrain, but first he's just so angry at himself. And then on Saudi Arabia also, and then Australia, he makes the mistake, and then Imola, like he crashes out, and like he just, I don't know if he keeps being so hard on himself that he doesn't realize that he just needs to just keep it consistent.
Yeah,
And that's all he needs.
and it's
Because
actually it's sorry. Go ahead.
no, yeah, because the last thing that he wants is be like really kicking himself in a race like Monaco, where you
Yeah.
make one mistake and you're fully out.
Yes, and that's what kind of what I was gonna say is that like actually Monaco is gonna be a great opportunity for him if he can, like be in a good spot mentally. Like because Leclerc is coming in from an incident that he had in this race. He wants to try to get immediately as much points as possible. But he
In
also
Monaco, which is his home Grand Prix, so it's a lot of pressure for Leclerc.
which he's never finished on. So I think Leclerc probably the weekend for him is he's gonna be trying to be careful. Or at least like that's somewhere in his mind, I would think. Like he has to be careful. He has to finish the race. That it's very important for him for the championship battle for him to finish this race.
Yeah. If anything, historically for Leclerc, this is the perfect circumstance for him to crash. There's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
He didn't finish the race before. He's losing ground in the championship against Max Verstappen. It's his home Grand Prix where there's a lot of history of him making mistakes and crashing and never finishing his home Grand Prix. Even last weekend, crashing in the
historic
event,
Ferrari.
Yeah, and the historic Ferrari just for show, and he crashes. So there's a lot of things that happen to him in his home Grand Prix that it puts so much pressure on him. And we know that when Leclerc has a lot of pressure in like a certain event, he makes mistakes.
Incidents can happen.
So if anything, like Leclerc needs to get all of that and just push it to a side and then be like, I just need to be calm. I just need to end the race.
Exactly. And what that means is that like he might not take as many risks as he has to. But if Carlos Sainz is there with the car, like with a good car, and I think Ferrari actually have the advantage for Monaco. I do. I think. I mean, they're just faster.
I actually think that even that Mercedes could have a
little go.
A go at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually that's probably true. Actually, I don't think the Red Bulls are gonna perform all that well. And maybe they will be fighting with the Mercedes. But I think as a whole, though, I think the Ferraris do have the advantage on this one. So if he's not, if he's not too scared and stuff, Sainz could easily outqualify Leclerc and then end up on the lead of not in the lead of the champion, on the lead of the race. So
yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it's just a matter of like headspace. But that I think that's all we have to talk about for Carlos Sainz.
Okay.